Holy shit. Here we are, Jarrett. Once again, Happy New Year. It might be March, but it's never too late to say Happy New Year.
Hey,
How
I'll
are you?
take a happy new year any day of the week.
Here we are for another year of PE class. I'm excited. What the hell's been going on with you? Did you have a good break?
Well, look, by break, I did have 2 weeks off from the regular Monster work, but I did see the opportunity of having time off from Monster to be able to do more work for other places. So I made the most of that and did a commentary and a couple video essays, and yeah, I think that was sort of it. And I consumed, I bought more media than I could physically watch. And yeah, I'm going to have it all buried with me though, so I won't be leaving it to anyone. Make sure that I'll clear your browser cache, Ben, but make sure they bury me with all my physical media. I'm not having someone sell off these limited editions for $1 a piece.
The Jarret sale. I'll just come and just take the lot. I've got
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
That's right. If you are planning on carking it, just let us know in advance so we can pillage.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So hey, I just before we jump into any kind of PE class stuff, I was wondering what your thoughts were on this whole Sony taking over the Disney stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. As to whether it will touch us locally, it's sort of hard to say because now obviously all interactive distribution's handling the Sony stuff locally. So it would kind of be a reach if if they were to be handling the Disney stuff via Sony. I
Yeah.
think it's an interesting move, and I'm all for it because Sony is probably, at least in the US marketplace, they're probably one of the better distributors out there because they're still doing Blu-ray and 4K for their key releases.
Hmm.
And in addition to that, they're still going through their archives regularly. I know it's the 100th anniversary of Columbia Pictures this year, so we're going to see a lot more releases. But even prior to that, you were guaranteed of seeing at least maybe 6 to 8 catalog titles a year getting the 4K treatment. And Sony don't pull any punches. They
Mm.
actually go to an effort of doing a really great restoration, new Atmos tracks. They look phenomenal, sound phenomenal. And then on top of it, they've actually got new special feature content. And they generally collect all the archival stuff as well. So it's a real comprehensive
So
package. Not like
yeah.
Paramount, who are doing these editions, and it's you just got to wait until a review comes out before you buy it because you get like planes, trains, and automobiles, and it's been scrubbed so clean that everyone looks waxy. But then you get something like Footloose that comes out that people are saying, "Oh no, they've done the DNR on it," but it's not. It was just a very soft focus kind of film, and it actually is very true, and the grain is present in the film, but it's hit and miss with Paramount. So yeah,
Yeah,
Sony,
yeah.
I'm all for.
Do you
So I
reckon they'll
love that they're
dip
doing
into
the
the
Disney.
reckon they'll dip into the old Fox archives?
I'd say I honestly think, yeah, the Fox archives I think would be I just don't think we're going to see the Touchstone Hollywood pictures, any of those subsidiaries Disney stuff happen. But I
Mhm.
think, yeah, very well. I think the Fox stuff for sure, because there's a God, between
Because the
not only like Home Alone 2 that's been streaming in 4K for a couple years now, but like God, what I'd do to have like a
Mhm.
4K The Fly happen. And plus, we need to see the Aliens films out now. We've got Aliens getting released in the US this month and in the UK. But then, of course, Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, and I guess all the others have already come out in 4K, and nobody really needs the other ones in 4K, really. I don't even know if we really need Alien 3 and Resurrection. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I'll
we
buy
do.
them. Of course,
Yeah.
I'll buy them.
Fox
You
stuff is
know,
kind of interesting because that's been handled by Park Circus for a while before Disney bought them out for their
yeah,
back
yeah,
catalog stuff. But I actually
yeah.
don't know what's going on with all that stuff if it's still available. I haven't seen much in the way of like
No, they're
big
not. Then,
Fox
yeah, no,
releases of the Fox classics.
Did
no,
Turner and Hooch
nothing.
ever get a 4K?
No, but it did get Blu-ray, but only in some territories. It's like Splash got a Blu-ray release in Australia and maybe two other places in Europe, not in the States.
What
Now
about
that thing goes for about
Splash 2?
$200 a piece.
Splash 2?
Never.
No,
No. Did it
no.
make it made it to DVD, I'm pretty sure, but I don't
I
think
don't
it made
know.
it quite as far as Blu-ray.
Kind of
But yeah,
needs to.
it'll be interesting to sort of see what happens with that whole deal. I mean, yeah, hopefully it might be the saving of that Disney catalog and also these Disney titles that are only been available through that Disney, sort of club within the States,
Yeah.
like
Mm,
Return to,
yeah.
Oz, and Mr. Boogedy, I think, also had a Blu-ray
And
release over
your
there as
your
well.
favorite wasn't your favorite one of them too? Fuzz Bucket.
Fuzz Bucket, yeah, exactly. So all these titles, I mean, it'd be great if Sony were to do some of these as well. But yeah, as to how it'll happen in the States, I don't know because it's a very different situation for physical outlets in the States. Obviously, Best Buy's pulled out, so they're
Yeah.
not really stocking anything, and the mass merchants aren't really. Everything's gone online, and some of those titles are like the titles, if you put them online, will they do the business that if you actually had it physically facing in a store and someone gets a burst of nostalgia and goes, oh, wouldn't mind a copy of Return to
Yeah.
Oz? But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it all sort of plays out. But it's exciting, it's an exciting time. I mean, geez, 2024 already, the titles that have been announced that are coming, it's phenomenal. We're finally seeing the big James Cameron titles, but we're also seeing really obscure titles finally make their way to disc, like Little Darlings came out recently. And these are films that we never thought would actually get a release past VHS or even DVD. So, look, I think anything's possible at this point in time.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let's talk about your t-shirt.
Yes, indeed. Well, do you don't want me to tell you about what's coming out in home entertainment this week? Because I'd love to tell you that
What
it's
order
all
do you want to do?
DVD.
I'm
It's all
happy.
DVD. Yeah, it's
Oh,
all
okay.
DVD. So I don't know if that's worth talking about realistically. Here we are, and I'm saying it's an exciting time for home entertainment.
Can you
This
run
week
by
we've
titles?
we've got a Mel Gibson title coming out,
Desperation
Desperation
Road.
Road,
Yep.
action thriller,
Good
straight to
stuff.
DVD.
Good
Well,
stuff.
DVD release only. We've got Space Pups, which is a sci-fi family film that no doubt Mondo is probably the only grown adult that is interested in that title, but that's coming out on DVD. Are you looking at that one? You're looking, hopefully you
Well,
get to do an interview with the director.
you patronizing son of a bitch. All right, moving on.
And then we've also got Butch Cassidy and the Wild Bunch that's coming out through Eagle, and this is Bruce Stern and Dee Wallace getting a nice little paycheck for their
And good
retirement
old
fund.
Mr. Sharknado directing that one.
Oh, is it really? Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because
Okay, well
he's already
he's moved
done
on to some big and better things, hasn't he?
another Sundance film. So this is sort of like the part two of his
Right.
sort of I guess potential trilogy.
Okay, well that's great. All right, well there you go. Who would have thought that, the mockbuster man would venture into the Western Territory and,
Interestingly
you
though
know,
about that, because I thought the title like it's very asylumish, like Butch Cassidy
mm.
and the Wild Bunch. But then I learnt that Butch Cassidy's gang was the Wild Bunch. So
All right, okay, there you go.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay,
Anyway,
well, yeah, that's all that's coming out this week, and
excellent. Moving
anything
on.
else is definitely not worth mentioning. But I do want to tell you though, there is some more catalog titles that are coming in the near future. One that I will mention specifically is The Departed. The
Mm.
Departed's coming out on 4K locally, coming out April 24th, which is pretty damn cool. It's only a single disc, and I haven't done research yet to work out whether all the special features will be on the 4K or not. But I mean, it's the kind of title you could walk into any thrift store or cashies and pick up on Blu-ray or DVD for $1. So if it doesn't, buy it there and then just, put it in the case.
Isn't that coming out same time as Goonies?
Yeah, I think they're coming out about a week or two early. I think they're coming out maybe on the 10th
Right.
of
Okay.
April or so. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, the
Cool.
10th of April. But yeah, they're like Training Day and Goonies finally are coming out locally. This one at least isn't too far after the US release, which is
Nice.
pretty good. But what about, have you seen a little film called um, Night Swim?
I haven't caught it yet. I missed the screening for it.
Oh man, you missed nothing. You missed nothing.
Really? I mean, it was a stretch to begin with, that premise.
Yeah, haunted pool movie. But look, I'm like, at least it's an original idea. It's not an original film,
It
and
sounds
yeah,
to me like an episode of Tales from the Crypt or something like that.
and it would be perfect in a
yeah,
30-minute capacity.
yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
It,
But yeah, that one's getting a release on DVD and Blu-ray. I don't think anyone's mourning the loss of that one not getting released on 4K. I certainly am not. But yeah, I was curious if anyone had seen it because seemingly no one has.
Well, I was
And it came
supposed to
out
do a
theatrical.
junket for that one, and the junket
Ah,
fell through, so I didn't bother with the film.
fair enough. It probably makes sense. Someone had a look at the film and went, do we really want people watching this, and asking the director what his intentions were?
Yeah. So thoughts
Yeah.
on creepy crawlies?
Well, it's actually funnily enough, based on a short film. Makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I did you see Baghead recently?
Yeah, I did.
You did. You interviewed the director as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, and Baghead was a great short.
Yep. Correct.
Just like Night Swim, I imagine that was a great short as well. But we don't have to make all these shorts into features, do we, lads? Anyway, moving on. So you mentioned the T-shirt that I'm wearing.
I did.
Benjamin, we've got some
Weekender.
news, don't we?
We do. That would have only dropped just before this dropped,
Yeah, mid last week.
mid last week.
just
Well, late
just
last,
about 5 days prior or so.
Yeah. late last week. But look, not everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. I think a lot of people out there just wait for Good Movie Monday to get all their news.
Precisely.
They don't go on social media. They don't follow us. They only follow us on TikTok. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they're certainly not following Monster Fest on TikTok, so
No.
I can assure you of that. We do have a TikTok. We have no subscribers at this point in time. Don't worry, I'm going to rectify that. I'm going to put up some curiously erotic videos of myself.
Yeah, I was going to say you've just
Nestling this copy of Toxic Zombies.
You've just added a massive workload to your schedule.
Yeah, I certainly didn't want it. I was very resistant to the TikTok, and plus, it means every time you open it, it doesn't go straight to your profile. It goes to the feed, and the feed's based on the things that obviously you said you kind of liked when you set it up. And of course, I spend 20 minutes watching everything in that feed, and the feed is endless, so I could spend an hour there.
As all algorithms do, the way TikTok really preys on you is if you last more than 20 to 30 seconds on a video, that's all you'll see for the next fucking hour, So
explains it.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of guinea pigs, dash
that's
hounds,
right.
I was going
pugs.
to say the trick is you've got to, when you're scrolling, you kind of got to try and keep two videos on the screen at the same time, like know what the next one is, so they can't screw you on the.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
They go, I know I'm watching this one. I'm still on this. I know that the next video is this
Fuck
one.
that algorithm.
Yeah, so just watch all of the Good Movie Monday TikTok videos all the way through, and that'll be your algorithm.
Oh, perfect. It'll all sort itself out.
Hang on, are you trying to advertise it or turn people off it?
Which one? I don't think we have to do anything to
goes hand in
propel
hand,
anyone
really.
for the Monster Fest TikTok at this point in time.
All right, Weekender.
So Weekender, we're doing it again. And as Ben and I had hoped, we are doing another entirely repertory program. So all classic films, all celebrating milestone anniversaries. And it was something we discussed after doing the 3D one last year, and it got such a great reaction.
Yeah.
People want to come out and see, films they love, but they also want to come out and see films that they've never had the opportunity to see on the big screen. And we've got a few of those. We've got I, Madman, aka Hardcover, went straight to video in Australia, putting that up on the big screen, first time on Australian cinema screens. I dare say it's going to be a first time for a lot of people to see the film, which is
directed
amazing.
by your old mate.
Yeah, Tibor, the director of The Gate. This was the second feature. This is the feature he did immediately after The Gate, and unfortunately it got caught up in a whole lot of studio. Well, listen to the Gate 2 commentary and you'll find out all about it. But needless to say, it had a pretty sheltered release and then straight to video in Australia. So the fact that you'll be able to see it on the big screen is pretty amazing. Then Deranged, as far as I can tell, Deranged never had a theatrical release in Australia. And I don't know if it ever actually came out on home video in Australia before it got released on DVD by Shock in the early 2000s and then later again.
I always remember it as a late night TV.
Yeah, totally. It used to be like Channel 9, late on Channel 9, late night. And that's how I first saw it.
That amazes me because I've told Ben this before, but if anyone ever asks me what's the scariest scene in a movie, I go to Deranged, and it's the scene when he chases a woman out of the house with a face on him.
Oh my God, yeah. It's
terrifying.
Super unsettling. But yeah, I remember trying to chase it for years and then happening upon late night TV in the TV guide, and I'm like, can't be. And then sure enough, stayed up, set the tape, and it was. And as far as I could tell, it wasn't completely uncut, because the version we're going to play is completely uncut, because there's one scene that was reinserted back maybe 8 years ago.
Is that the brain scene?
Yeah, and that's in this particular version.
I mean, and Deranged, for people that don't know, is inspired by the exploits of Ed Gein, but so was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and so these films were made the same year, but this one was completely overshadowed by Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's
more horrific.
It's definitely this.
We talked about Home Alone before, and Robert Blossom, the star of Deranged, is creepy next door neighbor. In Home Alone.
Yeah. I know, and the beautiful thing is I didn't see Deranged until after I'd seen Home Alone, because I don't think it had aired on Channel 9. So as soon as I revisited Home Alone, I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, it's the Robert Blossom, it's the name that makes you think.
It's a great name, isn't it?
You always think it's like every time I've tried to type it out to put into the website and stuff, it autocorrects it. I have to go back. No,
and delete the S?
Yeah.
Robert. That's his name. His name is Roberts.
No, so yeah, that's exciting. But then one that Ben's pulled together rather amazingly, and it was his genius idea to do, is a marathon of sorts.
Yeah, we're doing all three Angela films, the Sleepaway Camp trilogy.
The Holy Trilogy, we'll call it, because
Holy
we know
trilogy,
there's
yeah.
Return to Sleepaway Camp and all these other ones that don't actually matter,
The
and they're
authentic
not
shit.
really canon. We're talking
Yeah.
Pamela Springsteen and Felicia Rose. We're talking that Sleepaway
Amazing.
Camp.
That era, that gold.
I just wonder if Ben will last the distance.
Well,
No,
Ben,
I didn't make it
never.
through June 2, part 2. Why would I make it through
Was it long?
We both had a bit of a snore.
interminably long?
Oh, the first one was long, and I thought this one at least might cut to the chase and actually have a bit of
Dude,
action because he
cut
sat
to
through
the
the story
chase.
last time.
Cut to the chase. Oh,
It does
fucking
what it seemingly does, and I'm not sure what the actual runtime was. Or is it like
172, I think.
so? It's 172 minutes. It's 150 minutes of blah blah blah, nothing happening, and then 22 minutes of action, and you're like, well, if you would have spread this out a bit during the rest of the film.
Look, if he'd taken June 1 and June 2 and mashed them together, you'd have a nice 2-hour film.
Yeah, no, okay,
David
makes
Lynch,
sense.
like, even though he took his name off it and had all his issues, that David Lynch version covers the main points and gets to the meat of the story.
Yep.
And it's got Kyle MacLachlan as opposed to Timothy Chalamet.
Well, look, Chalamet's good in this, particularly in the final act. I think he really comes into his own with this one. I do love when the action is on. I think it's really good. But he spends so much time in fucking windswept deserts, fucking clicking with tongues, trying to summon fucking worms and shit.
Yeah, I felt that in the first one, so that doesn't sound enticing. I want to see it. Now, look, I think I'll wait for home entertainment for this one, to be honest. I think I could comfortably watch this one in the living room on a 75-inch OLED in Atmos, and that's fine. But there's a very good chance I'll never watch it, gentlemen.
That said, I didn't hate it, but,
I'm really interested to see because it does set up a lot of the stuff that happens in the future books.
Yep.
Because
Dennis, what's his name, has said he's busy writing a third one. So
he's going to do cool. Messiah and Children of June, Messiah of June, and all that. Because it does the whole thing. It turns into this big kind of religious war. Like he basically at the end of the film he becomes like the head of this kind of Fremen religious, order, and it basically is him like Catholicism, like spreading it across the universe, by sword, by fire and by sword.
Right.
So it could, if it does all that stuff, maybe I still don't think it's going to be worth it. But I did say to Glenn after we watched it, I said the best special effect in it was the de-aging of Carrie Ulwys in it.
Oh yeah, right.
Because I like that
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler, when they shaved his head and shaved off his eyebrows,
looks exactly
like a young Carrie Ulwys.
Yep.
Wow.
Ulwys, whatever his name.
Yep.
I kept waiting for him to say, was it As You Wish or whatever it is?
Well, we're not doing June 2, part 2 at the festival. I can assure you of that. So, never fear. It doesn't fit within the slasher because that's the thing. I don't know if we mentioned it. It's all slasher films. It's all slashers. Excellent. So we're doing Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. We're doing Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So we're doing both of the Craven Freddy Krueger films and
Meta before Meta came along.
Absolutely, the ultimate meta movie. And it's funny to think 2 years later he would do Scream, which was like the first serious meta horror movie, because of course we had like Student Bodies and things like that, slasher type movies.
Yeah.
God, that'd be a great festival, Ben. Slasher parody movies.
Yeah.
Like Student Bodies and the other ones that I can't think of, Pandemonium.
YouTube poster
there's a
coming
few
up.
others. Yeah, that could be great. I mean, it might be
remember
pretty
watching
short marathon.
Pandemonium. Is it National Lampoons? Is that what was the
yeah, I think
it National Lampoon's Class Reunion or something like that, where there is
no, that is Class Reunion, and that's a slasher parody
and it's
too.
Got a slasher. Yeah, I remember tuning in. That was another one that Channel 9 used to play late at night.
Doesn't it have Anne Ramsey?
I was just sorry,
Anne Ramsey in that?
Could be. I would get up and have a look at the Blu-ray because it's there, but I am wearing boxer shorts, so I don't want to reveal too much. And they are short, so
I remember I used to only watch those late night movies for the chance to see TNA.
Here it is.
Short.
And I remember tuning in on that one, going, "Oh, great! It's a college kind of high school sex comedy." Next thing you know, people are getting killed, and I'm like, "What
yes.
the fuck is this?"
Oh man, I love this. I used to rent the old Roadshow video like all the time back in the day.
It's John Hughes, yeah?
Right. It is. It's written by John Hughes, and it's got what's his name? Garrett Graham.
Yeah, I reckon Anne Ramsey's in it. I reckon
it's got
that would make sense. It seems like it could totally be an Anne Ramsey film. But yeah, so we're not playing that. But if you want to come around, maybe we can screen that one in the garage one day. Next year, yeah, the slasher parody one. And so there's other films. I think we haven't mentioned one film.
We've got Nightmare.
We mentioned all the other ones. Yeah.
We mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Friday the 13th. Yes.
That's the one we haven't mentioned.
The final chapter.
Final chapter. 40th anniversary. Tom Savini returns to the special effects. Yes. Crispin Glover dancing like no one's watching.
We should do a like free ticket to that screening if you can replicate his dance perfectly. And we put it against the screen at the cinema, and you've got to do it.
That would be amazing. And the whole audience can clap at the same time. Dead fuck, dead fuck, dead fuck. Did you see the press release for the, I don't know. Yeah, it was in the press release, I'm pretty sure, but it's also on the website. When I described the film, I mentioned that it's Corey Feldman's first, lead role in a feature film, but I called him Corey, comeback kid.
Yeah.
Feldman. Here he comes, the comeback king. We should get that chant going on when the movie is on. I'd love that. But yeah, it's gonna be amazing. It's 3 days, 2 films first night, 3 the second, and the marathon on the Sunday evening. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome! Everybody, jump onto your Monster Fest socials and check it out.
The marathon will be done by like 9 o'clock. So
it's a mini marathon. It starts at 5 and it'll be over. Yeah. It's only 20 minutes longer than what was it? The Killers of the Flower Moon. That was one of my selling points when Grant was like, "Oh, how are there going to be breaks between movies?" And I go, "Look, we could do a 10-minute break between, the movies." But realistically, people sat through the Killers of the Flower Moon and they were fine. So, this is much more bang for your buck. Everyone's going to be having a wild time. Just sneak out during a bit of the dialogue. Look, it's not June, so you're not going to be able to take a shit during the movie. But you could have a quick wee.
The woman not next to me, the woman in like one seat over, I swear she was gone for 45 minutes, which I assume was taking a massive shit. I don't think she missed anything. I don't know how everyone didn't miss her because she was wearing this like super bright kind of multicolored overalls. I was like, that's not what you want to wear. What you want to wear when you have to walk through.
You're discreetly trying to get through a cinema. Was it IMAX as well?
Yeah,
IMAX,
yeah, of course, and that's even worse because like.
Yeah.
God.
Ben unfortunately rocked up a little bit late, therefore he had to squeeze his way to the center of IMAX.
Yeah, well, at least he had a seat held for it.
I teabagged a lot of people.
And that was probably the most exciting thing of the night for them as well. They go,
absolutely.
Movie was all right, but the pre-show was fantastic.
They got to see, I mean, that's like a 3D experience with that sandworm right in their face. All right, mate. Thank you. It's been great having you back.
Thanks, guys.
See you next week.
See you then. Stay physical.